Fitboxers, it's Tris live on Fitbox Live. It's Friday night. It's half an hour later than I would have liked, but there you go. Things took over from me. I'm full of cold today, so if you hear me coughing or sputtering, then that's what it is. Also, the house is full and it's mad, so you may get a glimpse of a crazy dog, Sean Cockapoo. He's been cut really short, or my son, or my wife's on yet, so I do apologise for that in advance. So today I wanted to talk, well, before we get started, I want to mention about sharing this. If you like the content, hit the like button or the love button or the wow button. That'd be fantastic. And like I said, share it with your friends. It'd be really, really good, because the more people it goes out to, then hopefully it helps more people. If you're listening to it on the recording, then that's fine as well. You can still share it. That'd be awesome if you could do that. It'd be fantastic. I'm also recording it audio, so we're going to do it as a podcast as well at some point in the future. So hopefully that will be fantastic. So you can listen to it in podcast. So to get started, before we start, I better tell you my name's Tristram Oliver. Right, Barry, how you doing, mate? Thanks for listening. Show you up there. There you go. My name's Tristram Oliver and I own Fitbox. It's what I want to do every week is every Friday sort of afternoon, Friday evening about 6:45. I know I'm a bit later today. Is to do a Fitbox live presentation on some sort of subject. It may be to do with the blog that I do every week, so you can check out my blog as well. That'd be fantastic. It may well be on some other things. So next week is going to be National Obesity Awareness Week. I'm doing a whole series of blog posts. And then Giles, I haven't lost weight. I'll put you on the screen. There you go. Thanks for that comment. That's lovely, mate. I may have put weight on over Christmas. It's the subject of my talk, hence the cue cards in front of me. So hopefully you'll find some goodness out of this. You'll get some goodness out of the content that will help you, and you can share with your friends. That'd be great. So it's January. We're all full of cold, but a lot of us are doing our resolutions and our New Year's resolutions and stuff. And that's something that we have sort of lofty ideals that I'm going to lose weight this year. I'm going to make £1 million this year. I'm going to get health and, going to get really healthy this year. I'm going to sort my diet out. And like it or not, most of the time we don't tend to do what we say we're going to do. We sort of have these lofty ideals. The goals that we set ourselves are not probably achievable. They're too big for us to really make anything out of, and we can't sort of measure how we achieve that. So part of that I wanted to talk about is about motivation and habit. So this time of year, our motivation is quite high. It's, we've come out of this whole Christmas period where we're all been drinking too much, and we've been indulging a bit too much, and we now want to kickstart into our motivation. So can we quantify motivation? It's really that feeling of wanting to do something and wanting to make a change. It's something that numerous studies can't really quantify what motivation is. It's something, a door being slammed, that's my son. I'm sure if they could can or bottle motivation, it would be like the fountain of eternal youth. It would just be, we would all be drinking loads of motivation because, let's face it, we all need motivation most of the time. So it's January. Will this motivation last? We know that motivation drops off fairly quickly. We've all been there where we're happy to do something really, we want to get it done, but very quickly, within a couple of days, motivation to do it drops off. The fact that motivation drops off not only impacts our fitness goals, which is why we're here, but it also impacts in business. And although if we could keep our motivation all year round, we would easily achieve our goals. But unfortunately, motivation is something that we can't really put a pin in and keep it going all year round. So as motivation drops off, that's fine, that's natural, it's always going to happen. what we're hoping that while the motivation is there, that we form habits, and the habits are the things that are going to keep us doing what we started with the motivation. So habits are something that we form during the times that we're motivated. So habit is something that takes about 21 days, so that's 3 weeks to form. So about 21 days. It's about the time that motivation drops off, so that's quite lucky, really, that motivation and habits are linked. So habits are very, very important. They're the things that we want to get into. They're the things that are going to keep us going in the times that are tough. They're going to be the things that keep us going when motivation has dwindled and it's not really there anymore. Until we then again get motivation again. It potentially might be after our birthday. You might get, you stand on the scales and you think, oh my God, I need to lose weight, I need to get fitter. Then the motivation gets kicked back in again, and then we start to then use that motivation to form habits. So let's look at how we form habits. There are 3 steps of habit forming, and they're very easy to break down. The first step of a habit and habit forming, the first one is a trigger. So very, very simple. The trigger is something that triggers the next part, which is the action. That's actually doing something. So that's the action of doing something. And the third part is the reward for having done something. So we put them together. So for instance, it could be, right, the alarm goes off in the morning. I get up. That's my trigger. My alarm goes off. That's my trigger. It gets me out of bed. I get dressed. I brush my teeth. I wash under my armpits. I catch the bus or get in the car and I go to work. That's the action, is getting dressed, getting ready for work, going to work. That is the action. So we've had the trigger, which is the alarm. The action is going to work. And the reward is getting to work on time and not getting told off by the boss for being late. So that is your reward. Not a great reward, I'll give you that, but that is your reward. So the trigger is your alarm going off. Your action is you brushing your teeth and going to work. And 2, 3, your reward is having done all that. You don't get told off by the boss. You get to work on time, and everything goes all right. So that is how a habit works. So you could put that into anything. It could be a habit is the dishwasher beeps when it's done, which then makes you get up and empty it, which is then the action. So the trigger is the dishwasher beeping. The action is that you empty the dishwasher and put everything away. And the reward is you don't have to do it in the morning when you really can't be bothered. So that is a habit. So we just then put them together. So how do we form habits in real life? The best way to form a habit in real life is not around something completely new. So we've already got lots of triggers in our lives. So the best thing to do is to write down a list of things which could be potential triggers. So they could be things such as I go to lunch every day. So I go to lunch, therefore I could give some sort of that could be a trigger for an action. It could be like I go to lunch, I then go to the gym at lunch, and the reward is I eat my lunch after I've been to the gym. So that could be something that you do it around. Again, brushing your teeth is an action. So say you want to floss your teeth. You know you have to brush your teeth. It could be then you form a habit. So the actual action of going to the sink and brushing your teeth could be then the trigger for you then flossing your teeth. It could be the trigger for you washing your face with a special face wash. You need to look in your lives and write down a list of potential triggers, because if you try and invent a new trigger, it's going to be much more difficult than if you have an existing trigger. So it's really important as well to start small. There's no point going mental with it. If you start too big, like with everything, it's never going to happen. So the smaller you start with something. So in the there was a study that suggested that we're talking about the tooth flossing, that the trigger would be going to brush your teeth, and the starting small would be flossing one tooth. Now, I know that would be like pulling teeth, but that's sort of a demonstration around starting small. So don't go crazy. Don't go back poo crazy in the first instance. Start small, work your way up. It's going to be much easier to stay in the wagon. If you go too crazy and go too wild with everything and too big, like we're talking about goal setting at the beginning of the video, then it can go absolutely crazy. It's too easy to quit, so don't give yourself a reason to quit. So it's really important that you make sure that you get a reward at the end of it. So that's how we finish off that trigger, action, and reward in the habit. So I'm not saying you should go and have a massive box of chocolates after you do something. You know, it'd be nice, but I'm not saying that. So choose something appropriate. So for example, if you do a workout with some team buddies at a boot camp or at a gym or whatever, you know, give everyone a high five. That's a reward. Say well done, and then you'll get that in return. So that is a great reward. I know certainly when I've worked out and I get, you know, a high five or a well done from my teammate, then I know, you know, I feel that's reward enough. It could be a protein shake at the end of a workout, something that you enjoy, or it could be, you know, you've worked hard, you've done an hour of work or whatever, which is your action, and then you reward yourself with a 10-minute coffee break. Not only does it serve to get you active and moving around, but also it is quite a nice coffee, you know, quite a nice reward after you're working. So that's good. So there we have. That's how we form habits. That's how, when the motivation drops off, that's how you're gonna, you know, help yourself. It's gonna. That's the way that you're going to stay on track when you are deep in it, when the motivation has ebbed away and you're really having to dig deep. The fact that you have formed a habit will make you keep going. That will keep you going all the while. Without that, it will just drop off and ebb away, and you'll just be like you were this time last year, writing the same goals down, same New Year's resolutions, and you'll be no further forward. So it's really vitally important that we form a really good habit. And like I say, it takes 21 days to form a habit. So whilst the motivation is strong, you need to form it right now. So now is the time. So like I said, make a list of triggers, and then you can work into a habit. So that's fantastic. So that's all I've got for this around motivation and habit forming. Which I hope you found useful. Just to remind you, next week is National Obesity Awareness Week. Like I say, I'm doing a series of blog posts next week. There's 3 blog posts going on next week. If you'd like to read those, I will put a link to the blog in the comment section on the Facebook Live. This video is going to be put on YouTube as part of the series. I'm also, like I said at the beginning, I am recording it audio-wise, so you can listen to it on the go, hopefully on podcast, maybe on SoundCloud would be great. Get on the blog list. At the moment, if you are not on the email list and you sign up onto the email list, there's a link on the blog, and I'll put a link to my email list in the comments as well. You get a free 7-day workbook, which at this time of year will be fantastic, and it just helps you getting on the right track. Over a week, you get a whole workbook to fill out, and you get 7 emails, one every day once you've signed up, and that will hopefully get you on track in a week, basically. It's really, really simple, easy to follow. I've written it, so if I've written it, it must be simple. Get on the email list, and you can get that, and that's just sent straight to you. So that would be fantastic. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Tell me about the video if you liked it or not. Please give it a thumbs up or a like or a love. Share it to your friends if you think it's going to be helpful. But until next week, it'll be at 6:45 at the proper time next week, I promise. But until then, keep it simple. See you soon.